Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast, hosted by yours truly, Scott Howell, and the incomparable Bradley Flowers. For agents, by agents, we're here to share real-life experiences, tips, and insights related to all aspects of both being an insurance agent and running a successful agency. So sit back, turn up the volume, and let's get down to business. Insurance agents from around the world. My name is Scott Howell, your host of the Insurance Guys podcast. I'm the agency owner of I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, located in Huntsville, Alabama. Our mission is to help insurance agents in any way that we can with your business. And today I am joined by a great American, a fantastic insurance agent, first team All-American from Mobile, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the incomparable Bradley Flowers.
How are you doing today, Scott?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Before we get started, Bradley, introduce our sponsor for today, babe.
Today's sponsor is Thrice Beard Oil Company. Thrice is a premium men's grooming brand focused on creating a clean and distinguished look and feel. Head over to thrice.co to order any product.
Guys, we've got a great episode for you today, and I am so excited today to be joined by somebody that is known as a thought leader in the insurance industry. In my opinion, Bradley, changing the industry, called the brightest bulbs you'll ever come across in the social media world. Founder of Insurance Soup, which is a fantastic page on Facebook that a lot of agents, I think at last count, 16,794 agents were on that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Michael McCormick.
What's going on, gentlemen?
So Michael, I want to talk about the Insurance Soup, man. This page on Facebook, I'm intrigued. I do get on there from time to time and look around a little bit. Tell me about how that got going, and I know I see you post some things sometimes. I think you do a good job of monitoring that page and making sure that everybody's trying to kind of keeping everybody between the ditches. But tell us a little bit about the Insurance Soup.
The Insurance Soup group on Facebook kind of took on a little bit of a life of its own compared to what we were originally imagining and intending for the group. We started it back in December of 2015. December 28, 2015 is when we started it. Mm-hmm. And when we started it, it was literally just me, Taylor, and one other agent that we're close with, Brian Blair, farmer's agent out of South Dakota. It was just the three of us. Formed it because we knew that there were all these other insurance groups out there that were carrier-specific or topical specific, mm-hmm. but there was no real place where literally every single agent, regardless of line of business, carrier represented, mm-hmm. tenure in the industry, there was no place where literally everybody could congregate and get information and all that kind of stuff about what's going on. You know, for whatever reason, so many agents, especially in the captive world, and hopefully I'm not pissing you off, and if I'm pissing you off, it's because what I'm saying is true right now, they subscribe to this Kool-Aid culture. Right. Where whatever the mothership to them is gospel. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to form a place where that Kool-Aid wasn't being served.
Right.
You were able to find what was going on around the industry, whether it be, you know, what's working with regards to sales or marketing or social media or office culture or health. Straight up a better opportunity than the one you're currently in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's funny, in Insurance Soup, a lot of agents get very, very defensive about when someone talks poorly about their carrier or whatever the case may be. And I love it because, I mean, nothing makes me happier than to see someone who's got that kind of passion and fire about what they do for a living and who they're representing. But the bottom line is every single one of these companies, regardless of whether, you know, your banner is red, blue, green, orange, or rainbow, nobody's products or services are better than the other. We're all putting out very, very similar things into the world. We're all offering very similar products, all very similar services. What differentiates the insured's experience from one agent or company to the other is, generally speaking, the name on the door and not the logo. Mm-hmm. So we felt like when we put that together that we were going to be able to really, you know, bring agents from all walks of life, all areas of the country, all carriers represented, all lines written, and just get a lot of really good ideas. But when we put it together, we didn't think it was going to explode the way it exploded. We figured we basically started the group with the three of us, and the three of us pulled our networks in and told them what we were trying to get accomplished and all that kind of stuff. And the industry just ate it up. It kind of became the type of thing where, they told two friends and they told two friends, and within like 60 days, we were sitting on almost 4,000 people, or no, a little over 4,000, like 3,000 people. And we were like, holy cow, this is obviously something that the industry is wanting. And the rest is history. We've just kind of exploded from there.
So let me ask you this question. Have you used some of the concepts that you guys teach agents in the Career Agent Concept program to reach out, to try to bring in more agents into the insurance soup? Is that something that you guys actively do, or do you just organically grow?
No, we're advertising to grow the group.
Are you?
I would say that the strategies that we're using to grow the group are slightly different than the strategies that we're teaching agents to use in their agency, because straight up, we're not regulated.
Right.
Insurance Soup is not an insurance company. It is a social media and marketing firm, and a place for content sourcing and all that kind of stuff. So, we're not restricted when we're doing advertising as the Insurance Soup by what we're able to say, do, offer, put out into the world, all that kind of stuff. So, similar strategies, but different approaches. I mean, the one thing that a lot of people don't understand and don't realize, behind the scenes, we have put a lot of time, effort, and energy into learning our craft. A lot of people think that, these guys, they just got a couple tricks or whatever the case may be. I mean, we have seriously subscribed to our craft. I have been personally working with one of the number one Facebook marketers in the world for the past couple of years, a guy by the name of Ben Simpkins. I mean, just hanging out with the guy and his marketing program is going to cost you, I don't want to drop his prices on the call for anyone interested in working with him, but you're going to pay more to work with him on a monthly basis than you're going to pay to work with us. Period.
Yeah.
And I've been working with him for 3 years, and I'm actually in a little bit more of a mentor role in his group at this point. And, I help people generate leads in pretty much any industry that's out there. I mean, I've worked with realtors, I've worked with loan officers, I've worked with guys that own karate dojos. I've worked with movie directors in Australia. You name it, almost as obscure an item or product or service as you can come up with, I've helped market. So the stuff that we do to grow our brand without having the industry restrictions, it's a lot more diverse than what we put out there for insurance agents. Plus, at this point, with the amount that we've actually been able to learn and achieve and whatnot, a lot of it is so much more advanced than what your typical insurance agent comes to us for. So, like, one of the things that Taylor and I have been talking about for this year is we've got some guys that have been with us now for, 2+ years, 2.5 years, that have put together some pretty decent mastery of a lot of what we're teaching. We've talked about putting together a 2.0 course for the guys that have kind of, got down pat what we've already taught. That way we can kind of take the guys that know what they're doing, really doing a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole, and provide them with some newer and more diverse strategies. But we just haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it. If we don't know, we haven't figured out if we're going to have like a second course that's going to be made available to the OGs, the original gangsters that have been with us, or if we're just going to throw it in the existing course. Kind of leaning towards making it a second course that is only going to be available once you've been with us for a year plus. Because the last thing that we want to do is bring in a brand spanking new agent who's never done any kind of Facebook marketing,
right,
and have them see a strategy that's more complex and requires more knowledge to really kind of pull off, and have them get all excited about that, fall flat on their face, and then feel as if that their education isn't working for them.
Right.
So we've got a lot more actually coming for our more tenured agents, but we just haven't figured out the best way to serve it up to them yet.
So if I had a crystal ball that I set in front of you and I could ask you this question, I'd love to know your answer. What do you think is the future of the property and casualty insurance business, say 15 years from now, from where we are today?
It's a loaded question. You know what? I hem and haw on this quite a bit. Commercial is always going to be commercial. Like, property is always going to be property. Auto, I'm torn on. I really have no idea what's going to happen with the evolution of the self-driving vehicle. how do you pin liability down on a human being that's not operating the vehicle that's creating the accident? So, I mean, I really don't know what's going to go on with that. I know that a lot of the carriers are trying to prepare their agency force for a potential dramatic shift in the way that entire marketplace works. There's talk about putting the onus on the actual auto manufacturers and not the drivers, because how can you blame someone who wasn't driving the vehicle for a vehicle creating an accident? As far as marketing is concerned, there's been such a big behind the scenes, very quiet storm that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger with all this InsurTech stuff. And I mean, right now, one of the things that we offer, we have a partnership with a company called Back9 that really has automated the life insurance process to a point where prospect can take themselves from application to medical exam scheduled literally all on their own in under 5 minutes without a conversation with an agent. There's so much of that type of stuff going on right now coming to the marketplace. I do believe that there's always going to be a place for the brick and mortar agent and for that you need to have a conversation with, because there's a reason that we're all licensed. There's a reason that we all have the education that we have to be able to have the conversations that we have with the public. So much of the actual public seems to want, and I'm guilty of it myself, I'll straight up order dinner off of Grubhub just so I don't have to talk to the guy at the restaurant, tell him what I want. We all kind of desire to be able to make decisions on our own and have, sadly, a lot less human interaction than even 5-10 years ago. So that's the long answer. The short answer is I got no idea, brother. I really don't know.
Well, and to add to that a little bit, as far as you mentioned ordering off Grubhub and that sort of thing, I got into a conversation with a guy, and I'll sort of segue because I wanted to talk about the private group as well, and the support you guys give the agents. But I got into a talk in the private group about 2 weeks ago with someone regarding an ad he did, and it wasn't working. And you may or may not have seen this. The ad itself indicated that he would be calling the person that filled the form out. And if you disagree with this, let me know. But I suggested he take that part out. And he said, well, I want them to know a real person's going to be calling them. And I said, man, they don't care. They just want to get that quote on their phone. That's what people want. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. I think that's actually one of the reasons that internet leads in general have so many people, when you call out on them, frustrated on the other end of the phone, because a lot of the sites that are collecting information that are selling them to, that turn around and then sell them to agents, they're making it seem they are directly saying to the consumer, you will have your quote at the end of this process. And the reality is you submit the information and it's going out to 4 or 5 people who are now banging them on the phone, texting them, emailing them, and all that kind of stuff. And the consumer loses their mind because, they thought they were going to get a quote right there on the computer. I think that's what most people are hoping for when they go down that path of submitting their information.
Yeah, that's what the consumer wants.
Let's call spade a spade. The industry looks at us with a little bit of skepticism. And when I say a little bit, I'm being polite. They feel as if we are not looking out for their best interest. We make a lot of money. There's a shell game going on. There's claims being denied that they thought they were going to have covered. I mean, like right out the gates, one of the biggest misconceptions of the public. How many times have you spoken to someone on an auto insurance quote that says, I want full coverage? And in their mind, full coverage means no matter what happens to this car, come hell or high water, you're going to pay for every last penny of it. People believe that.
Yeah.
People actually believe, because I told my agent I wanted full coverage, that meant anything happens, my entire car gets paid for. Now, in contrast, there is a very big problem in our industry so far as team members insureds with what it is they're purchasing, or just doing an apples-to-apples comparison because they're treating it like a conveyor belt and they want to get the prospect in, out, and on to the next one. But there is a huge problem between the industry and the consumer where the consumer feels as if they're getting a snow job when the reality is they were just never educated. Is pissed to begin with. But
well, there's 2 things I'll add to that for our listening audience more so than Bradley and Michael. Number one, my belief is, and I've said this for a long time, because of the liability component with internet-based insurance purchasing, I've for a long time felt like it should be outlawed in the U.S. I don't believe that you should be able to buy insurance online, not because of what you're getting for your vehicle, but for the liability component that potentially could affect another person that was not involved in that purchase. And what is it that everybody says when they pick up the phone and call a Geico? Well, just give me the cheapest thing you got. And they really don't they really don't understand what they've got. They really don't care. They just want whatever's the cheapest. And then 6 months later, when they hit a minivan full of 4 kids that have to get med flighted to Huntsville Hospital, and they've got, the lowest $25,000, $50,000 bodily injury limits they possibly can get, then somebody has to file for bankruptcy. And I will go on any podcast, any news organization, Fox, CNN, this podcast, The Insurance Soup, and I will debate Warren Buffett at any time he wants to debate. I will go against him, and I will prove once and for all that should be outlawed in the United States of America. That is not the American way. And to add to what you just said, Michael, people want to buy the way they want to buy. Whether you're 25, 35, 45, 55, or 65, or 85, they want to buy insurance the way they want to buy. Some of them want to get it online. Some of them want to come into the office. Some of them want to call you on the phone. The common denominator among all of those people is when the shit goes down, and the house burns down, or the minivan just got hit and people are dying on the side of I-65 South in Alabama, they want to talk to Scott Howell, they want to talk to Bradley Flowers, and they want to talk to a local agent. They do not want to talk to a 21-year-old in a damn call center in Des Moines, Iowa, with a damn glow stick hanging out of his mouth, worried about where he's going to go to the club tonight.
And to add context to that, this is not the old man in the room talking about Elvis shaking his hips. This is the owner of I Protect Insurance, who has dubbed himself the insurance guy online. He is not against online anything.
No. Well, we don't sell insurance online on my website. You still have to talk to somebody in my agency.
You're not speaking out against all. You're speaking out against the purchase of online.
Yeah, I just don't think you should. I don't think I should be able to purchase insurance online, even though I probably understand it more than most people do. But I just think the actual, purchasing of an insurance policy, especially auto with that liability component to it, you're not buying a damn T-shirt off Amazon.
Right.
You're buying a product that has a damn high likelihood that somebody else is going to be affected by that in a major way. And I just don't see that as the American way.
What are your thoughts, Michael?
Well, here's where I kind of fall on that. We are required by law to go out and get a license to sell it, because someone up in the ivory towers agree that there is enough going on with what we're selling that we need to know what we're talking about, and the person buying it needs to understand what they're buying.
Mm-hmm.
If the government believes that, if the industry believes that, but we're okay basically letting the public know that they don't need that kind of expression or even access to someone to provide them I feel like there's a major disconnect. So, what's the importance of having an agent to educate if I can just go online and make a decision? In my opinion, if you have to get licensed, you shouldn't be able to purchase something without speaking to someone that got licensed.
Agreed.
Like, there's no other industry out there that requires you to go out and get certified or licensed or whatever. Like, you can't go to a website right now and bypass a doctor and prescribe yourself a medication.
Exactly. Thank you. And if somebody wants to pick up the phone and call a licensed agent with Geico and get insurance, and that person has a license and they've passed their insurance exam, and they go over all the coverages, and they, hey, are you sure this is what? That's okay. That's fine. But as far as just logging onto your damn cell phone, which is now surgically attached to your arm, and I just don't think you should be able to log on to geico.com and just fill out a 3-second form and all of a sudden get a damn insurance card. I mean,
you know what I would be comfortable? You know what I would be more comfortable with as a professional in the industry? I would be much more comfortable with if someone wanted to go online and buy insurance online, that they submit their information and they go into a live video chat with a licensed agent to have the right kind of conversation.
Strong.
There's no reason
Strong.
in the world right now that between, and this is just the stuff that's available to the general public for free, between Zoom, GoToMeeting, Google Hangouts, FaceTime, video chat on Facebook. You can't tell me for a second that these insurance providers can't put together a technology that when someone submits their information, it says 1 moment for a video conversation to discuss your protection needs.
A million% agree, and if they would do that, I would have no problem in the world.
On that note, Michael, we asked Chris Paradiso this question in episode 13. How do you feel about video quote?
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't believe that should be the first way that you are attempting to deliver the quote. But if you got someone who's not responding to your first, second, third phone call or whatever the case is, or that wants to talk it over with their boss or whatever, I'm a huge proponent of video in general. I use video for automating a lot of processes. We are assured, as far as business, extending coverages. Someone has a question about life insurance and they can't set an appointment. Having something that goes out to them that explains the difference between term, whole, and whatever else. I am a huge advocate of video, but as far as I know that there's probably going to be some pushback from some of your listeners on this thought. I'm not a huge believer in sending out the quote before the attempt to have an actual human conversation. A lot of agents out there are leaning on video a little bit too heavily to remove themselves from things. But if you can't get that person on the horn, you quoted them and now you're looking to transfer that policy and you can't get back on the phone or whatever, you absolutely get a video quote. Because if you just send them over something on a PDF for them to take a look at, that's no different than them shopping online. They don't know their ass and their elbow. They don't know what they're looking at, and all they're looking at at the end of the day is how much does this cost versus the next guy down the block. But a video quote, just like anything that you're doing, utilizing and leveraging video, not only allows there to be a opportunity for your prospect to get a feel for your personality, get an understanding of how professional you are, and if you know what you're talking about and all that kind of stuff. But it also eliminates the game of telephone that goes on when you are trying to let somebody else who's in the decision-making process be aware of what you're offering. Because it's just, hey, show your husband this video, show your wife this video, show your significant other, this video, so that they have an understanding of what you're getting, what the breakdown is, and what's actually going to be covered. Because the game of telephone is also vicious. Yeah,
and I had been attempting for about 6 to 8 months trying to figure out exactly the best way to do that, because I love doing marketing videos and videos on Facebook, and I actually think it was Paradiso that said something about video quote a while back, and I'm like, man, that's like right up my alley. I've got to figure out how to do that. Since I've been doing it about 2 months now, I think. Felt weird at first sending someone directly a video of me that's made for them, but the response has been overwhelming. It's so awesome.
Hey, guys, let me interrupt you real quick because I don't understand. I've never used this video quote, this option. So are you saying that once you do a quote, you're just jumping on your phone and recording yourself and then sending it via email, or are you saying it's a pre-rolled video based on their coverages that they've picked out or whatever? How exactly are you doing it?
Yeah, so there's a free service out there called useloom.com that you could be leveraging. There's another service called Screencast-O-Matic that you could be leveraging, where basically it allows you to record a video of yourself in the lower left-hand, right-hand corner of the screen with an actual screen share going on, where you could actually be showing them the quote that you built up and go line by line with them, what they're getting, and explain all of it to them. Or there are actually services out there from vendors in the industry that are that can provide a little bit more professional and seamless way of going about it as well. There's a company out there called Advisor Evolve that has websites for agents that allow for quote videos. The guy who owns it, his name is I'm going to botch his last name, Chris Langio. I met him at Grow Labs. He's a sharp guy. And he's put together a nice piece of technology that allows you to actually send the person out a quote. So I believe it's a URL. I haven't actually used this service, but I know a lot of people subscribe to it.
And what is it called again? I'm sorry, Michael. What was it called?
Advisor Evolve. You know what? I'm gonna look it up right while
Yep,
I'm talking.
and the one that I use is Loom, Loom. It's a Chrome extension. Learned about it through Michael. Typically, what I do is I start the video with my face on there, and I already have the PDF of the quote minimized. I pull the PDF up. I skip price immediately. We don't go to price first. I go over coverages. One of the main companies I represent in the state of Alabama has a lot of neat little bells and whistles that we're able to beat our competitors on an apple-to-apples quote unquote. I hate that saying. And then we go back up to price. And I just present it as if presenting it in the office. And then I end with my face on there and any questions. And the two things that I love about it, one I use and one I have not exactly figured out, and Michael might add some context to this, is I love it tells you when they open it and it tells you how many times they've opened it. So I know if someone hasn't opened the quote, I can follow back up with them. The other thing, somehow they have the ability to live chat with you while they're watching it, correct?
I'm not exactly positive on that. I don't want to say yes or no.
That is an option. And I don't know how smart that program is, but I actually sent one out this morning, and I got a haircut 2 days ago, and it's when I put myself on camera, it said, "Did you get a haircut?"
Damn.
So talk a little bit, Michael, about the private group. When I was in insurance, just in Insurance Soup, Insurance Soup is can get a little wild in a good way. And then when I moved over to the private group, when I got in the course, it was almost like going to heaven.
Hey, Michael, before you do that, did you find the advisory, the website for the video chat? You said you were going to look it up.
It's advisorevolve.com. They've got a feature. They build websites for agents, and one of the features that they've got available is the ability to record quotes and send them to your insured, and they get a password that they need to enter to actually view the quote. So you don't have to worry about, anyone getting their hands on the URL and being able to see their business. It's a little bit more secure than Use Loom. I mean, even something with like Use Loom or whatever. The complex URL that thing spits out when you record a video or whatever.
If you already have a website, like I already have the insuranceguyonline.com, if I already have a website, could I buy that technology from them and then kind of bolt it onto my existing website?
So Use Loom would probably be, or Screencast-O-Matic would probably be more than sufficient for what you'd be looking to get accomplished.
Gotcha.
It's FREE too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I apologize for interrupting. I know Bradley was about to jump headfirst into this private group. You have to be in the course to be in the private group.
Let's let Michael answer that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you know what it is. We've got close to 500 agents that have all committed to developing a skill set and committed to learning and education that are very, very actively sharing their own unique perspectives on what we teach. I will tell you right now, and I would never claim otherwise, even though I've had a couple people in Insurance Soup tell me that they think that I think that I'm Jesus, which I can tell you right now, I am not the Son of God. I am the son of Dennis McCormick. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. You try and lead it, people think that you think who you are. And I'm probably one of the more humble people you'll come across. But
agreed.
The private group, the reason why it's as successful as it is because we've developed a culture in there where we encourage everybody who is working on things to lay it out there on the table, whether it's something that you're absolutely killing it with, that others can, get their eyes on and get an understanding of why something's working so well, or if it's something that you're trying that's falling flat on its face, where you can get a lot of other people who are a lot more knowledgeable than you. Maybe you're only in the education 2 weeks or a month, and you've got someone who's been doing it for 18 months, or Taylor and I are both in there as well, and we've been doing this close to 5 years now. Where just simply putting it out there in front of people that have a little bit more experience than you, they're going to be able to help you piece it together and have a lot more success. Plus, on top of that, with there being 500 members, close to 500 members in this community right now. A lot of people, when they came to us to get this education, again, we're not the hero end all be all. They started looking for other tools than the ones that we recommend that may have come along since we put the course together. Mm-hmm. That is doing something a little bit differently than we recommend. I mean, I put a post up in Insurance Soup today about the need to constantly be evolving. Today's the 2-year anniversary of David Bowie passing away, and I was just looking at, this montage, this collage of photos of his from over the years. And, God, that guy had a different look, 50 times over the course of his life. And I was just I was just thinking to myself about the need to constantly be evolving in order to stay relevant in life and in this industry. And what makes the private group so strong is you've got 500 people that are again, very, very abundant with their willingness to share, and they're taking everything that we teach, and they're all doing it just a little bit differently. So when you've got that many people doing things just a little bit differently, you're going to be bringing in other little nuggets of wisdom that you're not going to necessarily find in the course because it's just the way things go. The one thing that I can say about this group that I'm very, very proud of, because I've been in a lot of courses, I've been in a lot of masterminds, and I've been in a lot of private groups and whatnot. And it was something that Taylor and I set out to establish from the start, is the level of activity and the willingness of people to share what it is they're doing and how it is they're doing it. Because in so many of these courses and groups and whatnot, you dropped into a group on social media with a couple hundred other people, and literally no one wants to share what they're doing because there is this underlying concern or fear that if I let these people know what I'm doing, that it's not going to be as effective for me. But what makes that not the case on social media, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, you're bringing people into the marketplace, weren't in the marketplace before they saw your message, opportunity, or offer. So that's a blue ocean. It's very different than the finite pool of people that are going into Google looking to make a change on their insurance. If you've got the right message, offer, opportunity out there, it doesn't matter how many other agents in your area are doing it. There's a million different audiences. There's a million different motivators. What people are doing with what we're teaching is not going to have any kind of impact on anybody else's success around them. And I think most of the guys in the group know that.
I agree 1,000%. I love that.
And I was in a couple of them prior to Insurance Soup and moving more to a consulting role in the industry. Carrier groups have two contingencies in all of those groups. You've got the young, ultra-eager agent who's drinking the Kool-Aid and super excited about their career. And then you've got the old dinosaur who just thinks that the company has totally screwed things up since they became an agent 30 years ago, and why can't things be like they were in the good old days?
Right. No, you're exactly right.
And I bring up the private group, so you're not buying this course and you're on your own. Even though you have to build the funnels out and do everything yourself, you guys pretty much do all but hold everyone's hand, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the one area that we don't allow our guys to really take over our lives too much is the private messages. When we have guys blowing us up in our private messages, a lot of times we'll direct them back to the group just for a couple reasons. Number one, I got to be able to get more than 4 hours of sleep a night, and that's about what I average. And number two, generally speaking, when someone comes into my private messages with a question about what they're doing, generally a learning opportunity for all the agents that are in the group at the moment. And everyone gets collectively better when they are observing the different questions and problems that people have with what they're trying to get accomplished and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of selfish on our part because we don't want to get completely bombarded with private messages. And I mean, I'm fielding between 50 and 100 conversations a day to begin with people that are hitting me up from Insurance Soup and CAC and, people that have got opportunities that they want us to explore. I mean, with almost 17,000 people in our group right now, Taylor and I, like 2 or 3 times a week, we have an agent that reaches out to us with a product or service that they've been developing that they want us to get behind. And it gets a little bit hectic, but
freaking trying to get you on a podcast, hey, can you come on this podcast with us?
What's that?
Agents like me trying to get you on a freaking podcast.
Dude, I dropped the ball with you.
No, I'm kidding. I know you get 10,000 messages a week, and I'm over here going, hey, would you mind coming on a podcast with us?
No, man, I'll straight up own it. We were talking about it before the holidays, and with the holidays and the amount of people that hit me up, our conversation kind of dropped down a little bit, and I just straight up forgot, and that's on me, and I apologize.
No, don't worry about it a bit.
It is what it is. A positive element that's developed as well.
Michael, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being on this podcast today, and please, I hope we get a chance here in the next year to have you guys back on and talk a little bit more. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Guys, insurance agents around the world, Listen to me. Rewards come from action, not discussion. Guys, you gotta get out from behind the desk and quit aggressively waiting on the phone to ring. You've got to evolve. You got to be a part of programs like Agency Concepts. You've got to get better at what you do, and the only way to do that is to educate yourself. So get out there and do that. Get out of that office today. Get off your ass. Go out there and sell something. Make money for your family. Write good insurance for the agency that you represent, and write good insurance business for the companies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, have a wonderful week, brother.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Michael.
Michael, thank you.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at iprotectins@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to bradleyflowersinsurance.com or email him at bradley@saralandinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to being with you again real soon on the next episode of The Insurance Guys. Take care.